afternoon, East Texas. Welcome on in. I'm your host, Michaela Goose. Enough about me. We are joined with a longtime guest of the show, Mr. Day Shelmire. I always add a V to it. I don't know why.
Everybody does.
Goodness. I mean, trust me, with the last name Goose, I get it. I feel your pain.
Yep.
Now, you've been on the show a couple of times, but you haven't been with us for a while. So can you go ahead and just start off with telling our viewers what the Small Business Development Center does and what you do as the director?
Sure. We're the Longview Small Business Development Center. In small business development centers, our role in the economic ecosystem is provide at no cost advising and consulting services to entrepreneurs and small business owners in order to help start businesses and help small businesses grow. We're part of a small business administration grant program. There's 1,000 SBDCs across the country. We're the best kept secret in the country, unfortunately. Anybody across the country, if they need help starting a business or growing their business or fixing the business if something's wrong, can come to their local small business development center and we can help them start a business, get back on track, whatever they need. And there's one here in Tyler. It's hosted by Tyler Junior College. We're hosted ironically by UT Tyler, but we're located in Longview. We serve 6 counties east of Tyler. There's one in Athens, one in Mount Pleasant. So we're scattered all over the country.
And the last time you were here, if you guys don't remember, you helped me start a fake Pilates studio
That's
here
right.
on the show.
Exactly.
And you walked me through what forms I needed to fill out, how I need to go about accessing a loan, how I need to find a property.
Right.
And that's pretty much what you guys do for anybody who walks through the door, right?
That's right. Anybody that walks in, doesn't matter how small the idea is or how big the idea is, we can work with companies up to 500 employees. So we can get pretty big.
Yeah.
We usually see small mom and pops up to companies around 75 employees. So that's kind of our sweet spot.
Now, you're here today not to help me with my fake dreams, but you're sponsoring a free government contracting workshop later on this month. When I think about government contractors, I don't know about you guys, I immediately go to Elon Musk. You know, he has $15 billion in federal government contracts. That's what I think of. But it's not just federal contracts, it's also small businesses can be government contractors.
Exactly.
Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, and you know what people don't realize is that the federal government is the largest purchaser in the entire world. Our federal government, they spend on contracts alone over $600 billion on contracts to do different things that they need to have done. And small business, for small businesses, they actually set aside 23% of those contracts and subcontracts for small businesses. So that equals, last year was $150 billion.
Oh my gosh.
And one of the things that we recognized in East Texas, we don't have the benefit of having a large military base in our backyard, like Killeen.
Yeah.
So small businesses, that is just part of the way they do business, is doing government contracting. Well, since we don't have those facilities here, it's something that most small businesses don't think about. And on average, a small business can see if they have something the federal government or state government or local government wants, they can see about a 20% increase in their top line if they just do it.
Now, my question is, you know, we were talking about the military bases out in Killeen. We don't have one of those here, like you said. So what exactly does the government want with a small business here in East Texas, you know?
Well, there's a lot of things. And when I talk about government contracting, I'm not just talking about federal government contracting. There's also state contracts and there's local contracts. So governments can be anything from a school district to a county government up to state of Texas, which would be TxDOT, Health and Human Services, a lot of those organizations. And I have a list of the top 10 industries that governments let most of their contracts for. One of the number one is facilities and construction.
Oh wow!
So if you're a contractor out there, the most money spent by the federal government is on facilities management and building things.
And that makes sense. You know, my grandfather, he had a concrete company, and he used to let me sit in on his bid calls. And so I remember him going and calling and saying, "I can give you this much concrete for this amount of money." So that makes sense that the government would also
Yeah.
need those services,
So
also needs that bid.
TxDOT buys a lot of concrete.
There you go.
Right? The next one is professional services. And, these are legal, financial, technical expertise, simple things like that. Information technology, software and hardware, telecommunications.
Wow, okay.
A lot of those companies here in East Texas. Transportation and logistics, moving things around. There's a lot of trucking companies.
There you go.
Very, very needed.
That's needed, yeah.
Medical. Another thing, healthcare services, medical equipment. There's VA hospitals all over, in several areas in East Texas. Industrial products and services. We're talking about machinery, maintenance, things like that. Security protection, human capital, travel and lodging, office management. So those are the top 10. And we've got tons of small businesses that do those things.
It sounds like pretty much every single business here in East Texas is needed by some, either state government, federal government, whatever it may be.
Exactly.
Those services are needed, and this could mean quite a bit of income for these families and people that own these small businesses.
Absolutely. And so that's why we're bringing an expert here to
Okay.
East Texas. He was here in July, and we were sold out. It was a workshop, 4-hour workshop in Longview.
Okay.
Like I said, our services are free of charge, and this workshop's free of charge as well. And we're bringing in an expert named Henry Vinson from Dallas, and he has been in government procurement for his entire career. He was with the Air Force. He was a procurement officer in the Air Force, so he knows what he's doing. After that, he actually worked for what's called an Apex Accelerator, Department of Defense program.
Yeah.
Just like an SBDC, except they do strictly government contracting. So he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
And he knows, contracting with federal, state, and local governments can be arduous. It's complicated.
Yeah.
And Henry can literally walk you through, like he always says, he can make a very boring, complicated subject interesting. And he does.
That's a skill that not a lot of people take full advantage of when they meet someone with that skill or they have that skill themselves. And especially when you're talking about something like federal government contracting, small business contracting, that's something you're going to need. Is you're going to have to hold those people's attention while you run through numbers and steps and that sort of complicated process.
Yeah, just getting on it's called the System for Award Management, the SAMS database. It's the federal government database that lists every single one of their contracts that they need proposals for. And so he walks you through the steps of how to get on that system, how to register for it, how to write your capability statement, how to get found. Most small businesses in East Texas are going to be subcontractors. So how do you get found by these big prime contractors? Well, he steps you through the whole process.
Oh my gosh.
And again, 23% of all federal, state, and most local contracts, 23% are set-asides for small business. And so, the amazing thing about this is that they break them down into categories. So the categories are small disadvantaged businesses.
Okay.
These are the racially or economically challenged businesses that get a set-aside for these things. Women-owned business, hub zone businesses, which are businesses that are in historically underutilized areas of the city, veteran-owned small business, and service-disabled veteran-owned businesses.
Wow. Okay.
So prime contractors are required by the federal government and state governments, Texas being one, to let 23% of their contracts or subcontracts to these businesses. So, and they never can make their numbers every year. So there's a lot left on the table. So SBA keeps these numbers, and they realize only about 20% are going to small businesses. They're trying to get the numbers up to 23 to 25%.
They really want to give this money, this giant chunk of change, to people who really need it, and the people who are right here in East Texas.
Exactly.
All right, Dave, how do people take advantage of this workshop? Where can they go? Do they have to purchase a ticket? What do they have to do?
Okay, so the workshop is in Longview.
Okay.
It's Friday, September 27th.
Okay.
From 10 to 2.
Okay.
Lunch will be provided. It's free of charge. Longview Economic Development Corporation is one of our partners. They'll be providing lunch.
Got it.
They just have to go to our website, which is SBDC, longviewsbdc.org. SBDC, that's the initials of Small Business Development Center. So longviewsbdc.org, and there's a blue button on the homepage that'll take you right to our registration. And unfortunately, we can only take a small group of folks. Our room's not too big, so the first 50 people that sign up will get a 4-hour workshop, plus they'll have access to Henry for questions and answers and all those sorts of things.
And overall, it just sounds like a great opportunity for people to have any questions that they have about getting their small business, under some type of government contract answered.
Yes, exactly. And we do suggest that it's companies that have been in business 2 years or more.
Okay.
And again, it's a free workshop. And, Henry Vinson has published a book on government contracting. He's unbelievable expert, and you'll have access to be able to ask any question you need to.
That's amazing.
Henry.
Alrighty. Well, Day, is there anything that I haven't given you the chance to let our viewers know about this contract workshop or about the SBDC in Longview?
Well, I'd just like to say that we're here, we're available, free of charge. There's no reason for an entrepreneur to start a business without talking with us. No reason for a company to want to grow to the next level without coming to us. And certainly, if you're struggling, please come see us before you get to that point where you're sliding downhill and there's no turning back, right?
Yes.
We've helped a ton of businesses stay in business.
Perfect. Once again, Day Shelmire, thank you so much for joining us. We hope to talk to you again soon.
Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Alrighty, we'll be right back on the other side of this commercial